Perhaps the most wonderful aspect of cinema is that it has timeless potential. Cinema is also priceless because it reflects, as no other medium can, the history, the culture, and the traditions of a time. Many old films have emerged out of darkness to light up and enthrall audiences. But with time, most of these films have faded into darkness. Many movies produced in the 1930s, 40s and 50s have already been lost due to the depredations of time. Others are slowly degrading due to high humidity, moisture, poor storage and neglect. Film stock has two primary layers. The thicker layer is the transparent plastic base that provides support. The thinner layer, which is the emulsion, carries the photosensitive materials in a gelatin binder. Both the base and the emulsion are subject to decay. This is cause for concern for connoisseurs of film culture. It requires a sincere, meticulous and painstaking effort to give new life to affected films. What you are seeing is part of a film classic that has been restored. This dramatic revival is possible due to a combination of several processes that comprise what we call film restoration. Film restoration can be an effective answer to the complex problems of repairing old films. Whether on celluloid or on videotape, digital film restoration is a frame-by-frame process of restoring the film to its original quality, for which skill sets are rare in India. To start with, the film is checked thoroughly to evaluate the condition it is in. The source material is placed in an ultrasonic cleaning machine to clean it. After the cleaning process is complete, the film negative is transferred onto a digital medium. The restoration process then begins after acquiring 2K or 4K scans through digitization. In the West, the higher 4K resolution is already the benchmark for quality film restoration work.
Film restoration. It is a very meticulous and time-taking process. It involves technical and aesthetic application in cleaning the defects of a film.
To restore a film, the negative is first scanned to get a digital file. These are the digital files which are worked on to remove the dust, scratches, stains, flickers, etc. The digital restoration artist is a skilled technician who works meticulously on every frame. The final restored output is given out digitally or is recorded on the negative.
After digitization, defects in the entire film are corrected, frame by frame. Here are examples of some defects and their correction after restoration. This is a part of a restored film in which the colors had faded severely due to aging. By grading the colors, shot by shot, manually, the original richness of the colors has been restored. Hence, grading is another feature of the restoration process, which enhances the total look of the film.
ঠিক আছে, আপনি আমাদের দলে আসুন, ছেড়ে দেব।
In this case, you can see that due to improper storage and negligence, the soundtrack has completely deteriorated. In fact, this can never be restored. In some cases, the sound negative is partially deteriorated. As you can see in this case, the sound emulsion has become sticky. Restoring such a soundtrack requires very sophisticated techniques and technologies, which are not available in India at present.
To recreate cinema in its original form, sound will have to be restored using significantly expensive technologies for digitization as well as removing the defects. Engineers with at least a decade of experience use technologies such as Cedar Cambridge, Apple, Dolby to remove defects which have come on the sound, such as hiss, crackle, plops, and noise, and make it sound as original as possible. Any wrong choice of technologies which will not only remove lesser defect but is also damage the sound, the restored sound will then be equalized and mastered according to the latest specifications either for cinema, home video, or broadcasting.
দেখছো কি? Go and join them. যাও যাও।
Yeah, for the past few years, I've been trying to look at my old films and see whether I needed know the condition that was in, and see whether I can restore it. And I was surprised to find that films like Nayakan, which was done in maybe '87, is just not there. I mean, the negatives are gone. It can't be restored. It can hardly, something which you have created has just disappeared in front of your eyes and you didn't even know, and it is gone. And it's really leaves a vacuum. And that should not happen. That should not happen in our time and day and technology. I know that it is expensive to restore, but it is absolutely essential for us to hold on to things that we have produced, And it will be very, very important for future to have films that represent today to be restored and kept in condition which will last that period of time. I think it's absolutely essential. I think it's wonderful if NFDC can do this sincerely and with all the effort. I think it'll be fantastic. It'll be the best thing that they will do to restore films and to preserve it for future. It would be the best thing that will happen to Indian cinema. I think it'd be wonderful to hold on to all the precious things that we have made so far.
Film preservation is not a one-time operation. It is an ongoing process. Even duplication must sometimes be repeated as techniques and standards improve.
Film restoration and film preservation is very, very important for a number of reasons. First of all, cinema and films become a record of our society, how we are in this day and age. Cinema is a good reflection in many ways of how life is through the decades. For our culture as rich as India, it is very important to have, our culture preserved through cinema as well. I have done a fair amount of preservation myself for my film Lagan and for Tare Zameen Par, and in fact for my other films also I'm planning that. What I have done is, this is a method which is called the YCM method, and this I got done in LA. I found out in LA that they have a method of preserving film for over long time. A negative generally starts fading in 20 years or so, the colors start to fade, etc. YCM is a procedure through which the information on your negative is stored, and then when you want a negative once again, it spits back out a fresh negative. So you have a brand new negative once again. This is a fairly expensive process, but I thought that, I would personally, for my own personal reasons, would like to preserve my films, which is why I have done it for my films. But before I actually preserved it, I restored the film, because when we took out prints of Lagaan at that time, we didn't come out with these. We didn't scan the entire film and spit out a negative, so we didn't have the information digitally on a computer. We did not. We had it on Lagaan was probably one of the last few films which was straight off the negative, of the original negative. So after the printing, the negative gets scratched, it gets, a little spoiled. And so we actually first restored the negative to its original form, and then we converted it and stored it in this YCM method. I would personally, not only as a student of cinema, but as an individual, just as a person, I would love to see the old classics. I would love to see them restored and preserved for posterity. I think that this is an extremely important process that we need to do.
As with all paintings, museum objects, and library materials, film needs continuing care to extend its useful life. The preservation of films in celluloid form is the most ideal and cost-effective in the long run.
As it has been happening in the West for many years already, we needed to consult the sources of innovation and originality. We needed to see some of the major films made in the past decades back on screen. This is finally happening also in India. Restoration and preservation is a major task, even for those who only want to know the most contemporary part of world cinema, because world cinema is made of a continuity of experience. And NFDC always stood for originality and innovation within Indian cinema. So to restore their films and to finally make sure that they will be well preserved and they can circulate, they can be brought back to the screen, would in fact give a lot of filmmakers, a lot of Indian artists, but also a lot of artists and film viewers abroad the possibility of understanding the dynamics of what has been new in Indian cinema over the decades.
Film as a creative force has a great impact on mankind. We cannot ignore its restoration and preservation. It is, in fact, an investment in the future.